things that you just reminded me of. And when I came up with this idea or whatever, I really wanted to take more of the technology approach and be very transparent about what I was doing, because there's, and I'm very different. I haven't built an app, and I can write code, but I decided I wanted to be a super user instead and just leverage what was available and try and, make that a little more accessible to people. And I think part of my premise there is that if more people are exposed to what it's like to create music, they will appreciate good music more. And I found that to be the case. And when people look at it, if they look at something, they're like, oh, that looks really easy, and then they try it and they realize that it's not. I think that's something really important. The other thing that I've been spending a lot of time with lately is, I look at my 12-year-old niece. She had like a couple very intro-level music courses at her elementary school, and my 8-year-old twin nephews have never had a music class. And it's like, wait a minute, I remember when I was in school, going to music class was the best part of my day, and it made me a better engineer, and it made me a better communicator, and all these things. And all these music programs are getting cut, but if I can teach a 5-year-old music theory on an iPad, why can't it just be a foundational element? And you don't have to say, oh, well, your violin is now totally obsolete. It's not that, but it can be a really nice entry point to finding that love of music that I know I have. I hope everybody else, like this thing that has enriched my life so much. If you're just removing that barrier to entry, like what could be bad about that? That kind of confuses me.
I'll say one more quick thing. I think one of the greatest gifts that we can give is the ability for anybody to make music. I know personally when we make apps like MorphWiz, I was trying to make kind of a professional musical instrument, but it was also really important to make something that anybody could pick up and play and enjoy and feel like, wow, this is cool. And not just that it's cool, but also sound like they were musical. And there's nothing wrong to me about that. I think it's a great, great thing. One of the apps I like is your Magic Piano app, and it's a different kind of cool because, I don't know, perhaps a lot of you are not aware, but you can pick that up, and if you have an internet connection, you can literally be playing and all of a sudden do a duet with people all around the world, and different people just kind of come on your screen, and they're playing, and you can hear them play, and you can play, and you're like, it's so amazing. I mean, I don't know if anybody, like if I'm playing with them, if they know or care or who I am, but I'm doing duets with the guy at the Apple store, or the guy in China, or the guy here or there. It's awesome. This opens up so many possibilities, and it gives that gift of music, which is like everything, and especially in our crazy world, to be able to offer music to people like that. And yeah, I mean, somebody picking up my app or a Magic Piano, they'll play, they'll laugh, it'll be wonderful, they'll hopefully even make music. Whether they'll be like so great as to make something that's, going to be on the radio or considered a great work of art, well, probably not, but at least it'll sound really pretty, it'll give them satisfaction, it'll sound nice to their grandparents or, whatever. So, put that out there.
Yeah, one real quick follow-up to that. We've been kind of monitoring Twitter as one of our, kind of see how people... One of the coolest tweets about the duet mode we got was like this, I think this is from this man in Florida, said, I just played a duet with some other magic pianist on the Magic Piano. They were in California. It turned out to be my son. So that was a good point. Another one was like, my parents is, my 14-year-old just asked me if he could start taking piano lessons after playing the Magic Piano. And it was kind of like, okay, those are encouraging.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just played against Jordan Rudess and he kicked my ass.
It's a competition.
Yeah.
He played
battle
faster
mode.
than me.
Okay, great. So we've got 5 minutes left. Our last act is Jim Yonak, and then we'll have like 2 minutes left for questions.
Basically just going to mess around with this rather than trying to do anything musical. MiniSynth Pro is what I'm going to demonstrate to you today. It's essentially some sort of a modular synth. It's kind of based on those famous retro synths of the 70s, the idea that we developed on. The core thing is it's very easy to use. It's literally modular both in its appearance and the way that it works, and it's based on a technology that we call virtual analog. There are a lot of elements derived from our studies of analog synths, like some characteristic things like the analog synth drift, etc., that makes it really like lifelike. So I'm just going to try having fun for the next couple of minutes with this, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, great, thanks. So now we have just a couple of minutes left for questions. So, yes.
Not so much a question, but just a comment. I don't think it's cheating. Any more than using auto-tune and flex time is in the studio. So you have to... Oh, you're recording this? I have nothing to say. I think it's maybe even less cheating than using flex time and auto-tune in a recording studio. But even there, you have to bring artistry to the process, or you have nothing. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is I'm a school teacher. And in my high school, 15% of the kids are in band and orchestra. What do we do about the others? You know, this gives them a chance to make music. And I teach a music technology class, and we use K oscillators. And some of the kids come in, and it's the first time they've made music, and it's just opening doors for them. So I think it's all good.
There's something about that, though, that kind of I'd love your take on. And I have this hypothesis, right? I think about when I was playing, my main instrument was viola. I played viola all throughout my life. But when I was starting to play, I got my start on piano, and with piano, it's tuned, so you have a certain, type of sound resonance that you get from that. But when I started playing a fretless instrument, it was really hard on my parents to support my education of this instrument. It's just the truth, right? And I wonder how many parents kind of like subtly nudge their kid, like, maybe you should do sports instead of music, you know? Or I think there's something about learning, you know, as a child on an instrument or whatever platform where you don't have to subject your parents to that could maybe get people to that level where now they're ready for like a traditional acoustic instrument. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, I wonder if there could be a study done on people who learn like guitar on Rock Band versus, you know, or whatever. But I think that I just know too many kids that stopped playing, you know, even if you could get them in the orchestra program.
Yeah, especially drummers.
That's actually the goal with the Magic Fiddle, was to bring back the nostalgia, meta nostalgia of like annoying your household by practicing.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Quieter, right?
Yeah. The more annoying you make the instrument, the more likely youth will pick it up and play it to annoy their parents.
That's the magic.
I think there's a question back there.
Have any of you taken what you've created and then made it with real instruments, like, you know, 3D instruments? Have you ever tried that, any one of you? Just use this as a platform to maybe create a piece and then take it one more step and then put it into instruments.
Yeah, I sometimes do that if I'm traveling. I'll create something like just on the plane, and then I'll just transfer it to my studio. I don't do that a lot. But what I've done more than that is I'll create something like in Looptastic. I'll get something that really sounds awesome, and then I'll just use that. I'll move that into my production as a piece of what's going on, because, you know, some of these apps, like Looptastic for sure, I can get to some sonic results quicker than even if I'm using some professional piece of gear. I can do some stuttering cool thing, something really wild with a bit crusher. Sounds awesome. I'm like, that's it. I don't need anything else. Move that into my pro world and then go from there.
There's this thing called MIDI Mobilizer that Line 6 makes, and like a lot of times I'll find myself, I'll be humming a melody or something. It's just easier for me to get that down and then go into, you know, my DAW or whatever and then build a track off of that, because you never know when inspiration is going to strike. So if you have a music-making device, it's also like your email and your newspaper and your whatever. Like, you know, it can be very helpful, I think, for containing those moments of creativity, especially on airplanes.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more question.
This might, I don't know if it's on. Hello? This might be too technical for a lot of the detail, but I'm curious, you know, my initial reaction to the iPad and music making was that the headphone in, or the ability to get music on and then the headphone out, are, you know, not professional quality. Are you guys doing anything to increase the fidelity, or is it just, you know, like when you DJ, are you just using the headphone out into an amp?
Okay, it sucks so bad. Can I just tell you? So what I try to do is I try to get the highest quality audio that I can onto the iPad, so that when I transfer it from one iPad to the other, it's okay. And then I do like I said, that hacked stereo kind of thing, where I have, you know, my production pad and my stereo or whatever, the other pad, and then I have the outs going to different channels of my mixer, and I try to create a bigger sound and based on the panning and try to leverage stereo as much as I can. But like the thing that makes me want to just die is when I have this is so horrible, I can't even believe I'm going to admit it. Like, I own numerous 1/8 inch to XLR cables. That's so disgusting, you know, like it's really bad. And I think, you know, I think that one of the reasons why you can't get a lot of really advanced, like, you know, besides Aaron, there's other people who are making really cool apps, and I talk to them and they're like, yeah, but the SDK doesn't allow it, or, you know, we submitted it and Apple rejected it. And I think it's because we're going to have GarageBand for iPad with iPad 2, and I've been doing things like taking the 30-pin connector and then putting in like a Blue Yeti mic or something, like a condenser mic, and trying to do stuff with it. There's only so far you can take it though, but the only saving grace is that so many people listen to MP3s that they can't tell, and that's even more upsetting. But I don't know.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a different